You've been giving too much too soon to the wrong moments. That's the truth most men never want to face. You think attention is kindness. You think attention shows interest. You think attention proves you're not like the other guys. And every time you give it without precision, without standard, without the spine of self-respect holding it up, you make your attention cheap. She doesn't need to say a word for you to feel it. The tiny shifts in energy when your text arrives too fast. The way her eyes skim past you when you hover. The way your presence blends into the background because it's always available. What I'm going to give you now will feel almost unfair once you start using it. Give less attention, get more desire. Not because you're playing cold or cruel, not because you're pretending not to care, but because you are training yourself to be selective, intentional, and grounded. You are learning how to make your attention weighty. You are calibrating your presence so that when she has it, she feels it in her nervous system like a voltage spike. Rare, targeted, unmistakable. If what you're hearing is already shifting how you see yourself, stay with me until the end because we're just getting started. Attention is currency. When a currency is printed endlessly, it inflates and loses value. The same happens with you. If your attention is always available, it carries no signal. When your attention is scarce and earned, it becomes a signal of status, discernment, desire, and power. Scarcity is not about withholding love or playing childish games. Scarcity is about standards. It's about pacing. It's about not letting your emotions hijack your behavior so that you flood her with dopamine before she has earned even a drop. You are the steward of your attention. You decide where it goes, how long it stays, and what it takes to get more of it. She is not a villain in this story. She is simply responding to the signals you're sending. Flood her, and she swims away. Give her measured sips, and she leans forward to taste more. Start with an audit. Where is your attention leaking? Look at your phone. The endless checking, messages, stories, likes, trains your brain to seek micro-validations and to bleed availability. Every time you refresh a chat to see if she replied, you're reinforcing neediness in your nervous system. That neediness will slip into your tone, your timing, your cadence, your word choice. She'll feel the invisible tremor behind your texts. The fix isn't to disappear. The fix is to create windows. Windowed availability turns you from a faucet into a spring. Choose 2 or 3 time windows each day when you respond, and during those windows, you respond with clarity and warmth. Outside those windows, you are in your life. You train your body to stop twitching toward the phone every 5 minutes. You breathe. You build. You move. When your life has gravity, your attention develops mass. When your attention has mass, it bends the space around it. Calibrated scarcity is a barbell. When you're with her, be fully with her. When you're away, be fully away. Most men do the opposite. They're half present in person, eyes flicking to notifications under the table, barely anchored in their own body. And then they compensate later by texting all-night paragraphs that spill their need. Reverse it. In person, make your presence heavy. No rush. Speak a fraction slower than you want to. Hold eye contact a heartbeat longer than you're used to. Then look away first like a man who chooses when to give and when to release. Listen with stillness. Specificity is power. Pick up a precise detail. A ring on her right hand, the cadence she uses when she's excited, the way she tucks hair behind her ear when she's thinking, and reflect it back with a single sentence. Then let silence do the work. Not the silence of awkwardness, the silence of a man unafraid of space. Away from her, return to your mission. Scarcity without mission is just absence. Scarcity with mission is magnetism. Set a standard in your head that you will never chase uncertainty. This doesn't mean you never pursue. Pursuit is decisive. Chasing is reactive. The difference is in the energy. Pursuit creates offers. I'm doing drinks at 7 on Thursday at that spot I told you about. Join me for one. Chasing asks for permission to exist. Hey, are you free at all? Let me know what works for you. I can adjust. Pursuit has a spine. Chasing has an apology. Your attention should follow a gating rule. It grows when effort is matched. It stabilizes when effort is inconsistent, and it recedes when effort drops. Your behavior is not a roller coaster. It's a thermostat. If she invests, temperature rises. If she cools, temperature returns to baseline. You don't punish. You don't pout. You recalibrate. When she cancels, you say, "No worries." let's circle back next week. I'm off-grid for a couple days. Then you actually go off-grid. You're not proving a point. You're living your life. The point proves itself. Precision compliments are part of the scarcity game. Flooding her with praise trains her to ignore praise. A single, specific acknowledgement delivered at the right time can flip a switch. The rule: notice, name, and release. Notice something real that shows you're paying attention. How she challenges a point without becoming defensive. How she tells a story and edits out the drama. How she looks a person in the eye when she asks a question. Name it in a clean line. I like how direct you are. Then release. Don't stack 3 more compliments. Don't angle for a return compliment. Let the remark hang in the air like a ring in water after a stone. Scarcity makes each word ring louder. Text timing matters because timing communicates value. Fast responses are not a sin. Reflexive responses are. If your phone prompts you to answer before your backbone has engaged, put it down, take 2 breaths, return to your task, then reply when you choose. The 2-breath rule retrains your nervous system to be initiator, not reactor. When you do reply, remove the fluff. Speak in clean lines. If she sends a long message, don't mirror length to show you care. Mirror clarity. Pull the thread you actually want to pull. That trip sounds fun. What pulled you there? Minimal words with maximal direction pull her into your frame. And yes, occasionally send nothing at all. Not to punish, to end the loop when it adds no value. Your time is finite. Your attention is finite. You are not obligated to fund every conversation that doesn't compound. The scarcity game is not coldness. It's contrast. Desire lives in contrast. Too much light blinds, too much darkness numbs. Alternate intensity with emptiness. After a moment of heat, shared eye contact that lingers, a close lean in with your voice just above a whisper, pull back and talk about something mundane for a minute. The nervous system relaxes, then it reaches again. This rhythm is primal. Humans lock onto what fluctuates, not what drones. If you treat attention like a steady beep, she tunes it out. If you give a pattern of peaks and valleys, heat, calm, she tracks you. She doesn't know why she's leaning forward, she just is. Know your exit. Most men don't. They wait for the moment to end them. You end the moment. On a date, leave on a high note. Don't linger because the conversation is flowing. Cut it when it's strongest. Stand, touch her shoulder lightly as you move, and say, "I've got an early start. Let's continue later." Then go. Your absence becomes a live wire. Later is a promise only if you're the man who keeps his word. Otherwise, it's a void. Keep your word selectively and precisely. She meets effort with effort? Continue. She treats access to you as a given while offering nothing? Your attention evaporates like mist at noon. You are training 2 bodies at once, hers and yours. Her body learns that your presence raises voltage. Your body learns that your attention follows your standards, not your impulses. Hold your posture. Sit with weight in your hips. Speak from breath, not from throat. When you enter a room, move like there's time. Scarcity begins with how you treat space. Rushed men tell the world their time is cheap. Measured men tell the world their time is already claimed. She reads your walk. She reads the way you scan a room without searching for validation. She reads the way you greet people. Direct eye contact, slight smile, relaxed jaw. Pause before you speak. You are not performance. You are presence. Performance begs to be seen. Presence allows itself to be noticed. The digital layer is where most men lose. Attention online is a slot machine, and you are feeding it coins. Stop playing like a customer. Play like the house. Don't flood her likes. 1 like means more than 10. A reply to a story placed selectively, not to her best selfie, but to a line from a book she quoted or a weird niche interest, is the kind that lodges in memory. If she posts something obviously designed to harvest validation, you do not donate. You reserve your responses for signals of depth or alignment, and you never argue in comments or text about trivialities. The moment you argue, you're doing unpaid emotional labor for a connection that isn't real yet. If it matters, say, "Good point. Let's debate that over a drink." Pull attention into your world, your pace, your frame. Frame is the invisible container that makes scarcity work. If your frame is, "I hope she likes me," You will bleed attention in every interaction. If your frame is, "I am evaluating fit," your attention becomes a metric, not a plea. Listening becomes selection, not approval seeking. Questions become filters, not fishing for connection. You can feel the difference in a single line. Approval frame. Are you free this weekend? Selection frame. I'm taking a hike Saturday morning. If you're spontaneous, join. Approval frame. What are you looking for? Selection frame. I move fast and I don't text endlessly. If you're more into pen pal energy, we won't fit. The words are similar. The energy isn't. Scarcity is the natural byproduct of a strong frame, because your standards create it. Handling tests is where men either leak or solidify attention. Tests are not an attack, they're a scan for your center. She arrives late. She teases your outfit. She asks a curveball question to see if you wobble. Your reaction teaches her what your attention is made of. If she's late, you don't sulk. You say, "Good to see you, I've got 90 minutes. No lecture, no edge, just a reframe of the container that preserves your time. If she tosses a tease, you don't defend. You smile and redirect. You'll get used to it. If she refuses a plan and pushes you to adapt 10 times in 10 minutes, you step out of the negotiation spiral. Let's sync when schedules are less chaotic. Then you leave the chat. Tests are opportunities to demonstrate you will not barter your attention for approval. Scarcity multiplies when you cultivate pre-selection, but not the theatrical kind. You don't need photos wrapped in a crowd of women. You need a life that others can feel. Build micro-signals into your reality. Host something, not a party to impress women, an experience you genuinely like. A weekly coffee with two friends where conversation has teeth. A climbing session, a gallery opening you curate with a friend. When you invite her, she is stepping into a social field where your attention is not the only magnet. She sees you at the center of something. She sees you in your element, not bending around hers. And here's a paradox. When your attention is shared by a mission, a tribe, and a rhythm, your attention with her intensifies when you choose to focus it. The contrast spikes. This is not an accident. This is design. Give fewer words, but make the words you give carry weight. Vagueness is cheap. Precision is expensive. Instead of, "You're amazing," say, "I like how you don't rush your thoughts." Instead of, "You're beautiful," say, "There's a calm behind your eyes when you're challenging a point that I find sharp." Instead of, "We should hang," say, "Thursday, 7, Oyster Bar, 2 seats at the counter." Precision signals leadership. Leadership is rare. Rarity is desire. Boundaries are where scarcity becomes unbreakable. Set 3 and hold them. 1. You will not argue over text. 2. You do not do endless messaging. 3. You do not reward passive aggression with attention. When any of these lines are crossed, your response is short, calm, and final. Not getting into that over text. "I'm not a pen pal, I prefer real conversations. Let's talk when you're clear." Then you go dark without fanfare. You don't escalate, you don't explain, you don't perform righteousness. Your quiet is the boundary. The first time is hard, the second time is automatic, the third time, she respects it, or you exit. There's a rhythm to escalation that pairs perfectly with scarcity. You're not avoiding intimacy, you're controlling pace. Early, keep touches brief and unhurried. Guide her through a door with your hand at the small of her back for 1 second, then release. Mirror slightly less than she does. If she leans in, you lean in half as much. If she pulls back, you hold your ground without closing distance. On a date, change locations once, even if it's just from the table to the bar. Movement creates micro-adventures and imprints your presence into multiple contexts. When the moment arrives for a kiss, it's not because you chased it, it's because you created a field where it was the next logical step. Then, this is key, you break first. You let the moment hang. You don't cling to the chemistry like a man who fears it will evaporate. You trust that leaving a little hunger is the difference between a memory and a blur. Scarcity dies when you validate her every time she demands it. Don't be a validation butler. If she asks, "Do you like me?" and it's early, you smile and say, "I like what I've seen so far." That's not a game. That's a standard. If she pushes for details you haven't earned from her either, you hold parity. When you reveal selectively. Share a story that shows depth, not everything that makes you who you are. Mystery is not trickery. Mystery is pacing. There is a difference between withholding and unfolding. Withholding is fear. Unfolding is leadership. Your schedule is your strongest scarcity lever. If you are always free, you're not valuable. You're unclaimed. Fill your week with your own priorities. Training, building, learning, spending time with people who challenge you. When you say, I can do Thursday or next Monday, it's because those are the actual windows, not a fabricated scarcity to look cool. Feigned scarcity breeds anxiety. Real scarcity breeds respect. She can feel the difference. Real scarcity relaxes her because it feels like gravity, consistent, predictable, and real. Fake scarcity jitters her because it feels like a weather report, random, manipulative, and hollow. When you do give attention, give it cleanly. No half investments, no checking your phone mid-conversation, no nodding while crafting your next line. When she speaks, land on her words. Ask one question that makes her go deeper. Then let her finish completely before you respond. She will feel a kind of breath open in her chest that she doesn't feel with men who are trying to impress. That breath is the doorway to trust. Scarcity without warmth is cold. Warmth without scarcity is clinginess. Marry them. You are warm and scarce. You are present and selective. You are soft in attention, firm in boundary. Jealousy is a weak tool. Don't use it. You don't need to make her jealous to raise your value. Simply be a man other people are drawn to. Laugh with the barista, ask the waiter's name and use it once. Thank the host sincerely. Talk briefly with a friend who walks in, then return your focus. This tells a richer story than performing some staged social proof. You aren't trying to trigger fear of loss, you're activating respect for selection. There's a difference. Fear of loss can backfire into drama. Respect for selection grows into desire and stability. When she goes quiet, don't fill the silence with explanations and essays. Give it space. If it matters, you'll know because she initiates again. If she doesn't, you already have your answer. Your attention doesn't beg. It observes, then moves. Silence is not a punishment, it's information. Your discipline is to believe the information you receive instead of inventing a fantasy to keep your ego comfortable. Be very cautious with gifts of time and resources early. Generosity is beautiful when it's anchored. Without anchor, generosity becomes bribery. The most generous thing you can give early is clarity. Tell her what you want with clean lines. Tell her what you don't do. Tell her how you operate. I like getting to know someone in person. I'm not glued to my phone. I value honesty even when it's inconvenient. Then act in alignment with those lines. Words are empty until your behavior makes them expensive. There's a simple test you can run on yourself any moment of any interaction. If I respected myself completely, what would I do with my attention right now? You already know the answer. Sometimes it's to lean in and show warmth. Sometimes it's to walk away. Sometimes it's to stop explaining. Sometimes it's to ask for what you want without hedging. Self-respect is the engine of scarcity. When self-respect drives, your attention allocates itself correctly without a script. You will feel resistance at first. There's a part of you that believes attention equals love. That part is a boy who learned to please to be safe. He did his best. Now you are a man, and your safety lives in your standards. It will feel edgy to hold silence where you used to fill space. It will feel risky to end a date when you used to stretch it. It will feel uncomfortable to say, "Not for me," when you used to say, "Maybe." Keep going. The discomfort is the old pattern dying. When you feel it, breathe deeper, lower your shoulders, and return to your pace. You're not closing your heart, you're closing your leaks. Use your environment to reinforce your frame. Sit where you can see the room. Position your body so you can lean back as easily as you can lean in. On dates, choose spots with energy but not noise. Places where your pauses are felt, not swallowed. If you walk somewhere with transitions, streets to parks, light to shade, so the world creates natural beats in the rhythm of connection. Micro-environments create micro-scarcity. Each transition is a chance to reset the energy without forcing it. If this is hitting something inside you, drop your thoughts below. I read every single one. Tell me where you leak attention the most. Tell me where you've already started holding it. Tell me the moment you realized you were chasing instead of pursuing. There's power in naming it. There's power in declaring the new standard out loud where other men can see it and hold you to it. And if you know a brother who needs this, send it to him today. Don't keep it to yourself. Men who learn to hold their attention change the temperature of every room they enter. That's bigger than dating. That's leadership. Do not confuse kindness with compliance. You can be deeply kind and utterly non-compliant with low standards. That combination, more than any line or tactic, shifts attraction. She can feel when she cannot move you with crumbs. She can feel when your attention is not rent-controlled by her moods. She can feel when you enjoy her without depending on her. That is the center of the scarcity game. Abundance in yourself, precision with others. You are not starving anyone. You are feeding the right things at the right time. From now on, treat your attention like a blade. Keep it sharp, keep it clean, keep it sheathed until it matters. When it's time to use it with clarity and control. Say less with more weight. Move slower with more certainty. Offer less with more intention. Make your yes a yes and your no a no. When she earns your focus, give it like the sun breaking through cloud. When she squanders it, let the cloud close again and continue your day. Here's how this looks in the wild. You meet a woman who sparks your interest. You exchange a few lines, clean, present, slightly teasing, and then you end the interaction first. Good meeting you, I'm headed out. You get her contact with a simple line, I'll text you when I'm free. You text her the next day during your window and set a plan. You don't chat endlessly, you don't overshare. On the date, you choose a place you like, and you carry the energy. Curiosity, stillness, precise compliments, and the timing to change locations once. You end first on a high note. You follow up when it fits your life. If she mirrors effort, you increase presence. If she cools, you return to baseline. There is no drama, there is only rhythm. The more you live this, the more you'll notice subtle openings. Women will lean into your silence instead of trying to fill it. They will ask you questions you used to beg to be asked. They will check your availability instead of assuming it. They will feel the difference between a man who is hungry for their attention and a man who is careful with his own. That difference is the source of calm attraction. It isn't loud. It isn't flashy. It hums beneath everything. It's the sound of a man who knows his value and protects it. If what you've heard so far is shifting how you see yourself, stay with me to the end. I want this to land in your bones. You don't need more lines. You need a deeper standard. You need to fall in love with your pace. When you slow your speech by a hair, when you allow 5 seconds of silence instead of rushing to fill it, when you choose to end an interaction on a peak, when you resist the reflex to explain yourself to win a point. These micro-acts are how you become scarce and desired. They're small moves with massive signals. Master these and you won't need to pretend to be anything. You'll be the man who allocates himself like a king allocates time. Now, take this week and run an experiment. Choose a 3-hour block each evening where your phone is in another room. During that block, do 3 things. Train your body, absorb something that challenges you, and create something with your hands or mind. At the end of that block, send any necessary replies. Notice how your tone changes when you respond from fullness. Notice how your words tighten. Notice how your invitations become cleaner. Notice how much less you need to prove. That's your new normal. You are not available, you are present. Presence is rare. Rarity is attractive. When you finally understand scarcity, you'll stop fearing that your lack of constant attention will make her forget you. She won't forget you. She will start thinking about you in the spaces you leave. She will feel the emptiness after your presence like a sharp intake of breath, and it will draw her memory back to the way your eyes settled on her without need, the way your voice dropped when you told a story, the way you ended the night before she expected. She will replay these because they are not diluted. You didn't give her a river to splash in, you gave her a glass to savor. Close your eyes for a second and imagine walking into your next interaction with this standard. You move slower. You feel heavier in your body. You're not performing, you're not seeking, you're not over-explaining. You ask a clear question and let it land. You give a precise compliment and you don't follow it up with 3 more. You end the moment cleanly and you leave. You don't check your phone 5 times for the echo. You return to your mission. That's the man who gets remembered. That's the man who pulls. That's the man who, by giving less attention, creates more desire. If this resonated, subscribe and stay close. This is a long game, and I want you equipped for all of it. Tell me in the comments which line you're going to implement first: the 2-breath rule, the windowed availability, the high-note exit, or the precision compliment. I'll be there reading. And if there's a brother in your circle who keeps chasing, send this to him now. Let's raise the standard together. You don't need to become someone else. You need to stop leaking who you already are. Scarcity isn't a trick. Scarcity is the world seeing finally that your attention is worth earning.